Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR365.com and podweather.com with the latest on the tropics. And when we take a look out there today in the Atlantic Basin, you can see we do have Tropical Storm Colin, quite obviously having regenerated today here, a little to the south-southwest of Bermuda, and it is currently chugging on off in a northerly fashion. We have a tropical wave in the western Caribbean that is Invest 92L, but it's not looking as great as it was a few days ago for development. Some thunderstorms here along the Gulf Coast, and we have a large area of storms in the central Atlantic that we will touch base on. But first, let's get to the latest on Tropical Storm Colin as of 5 p.m. from the Hurricane Center. It was at 24.9 north, 66.3 west. Winds were 45 miles per hour, gusting to 55. And it's moving northwest at 19, and again 1009 millibars is higher than the pressure was the other day when it was developing into a tropical storm, but nevertheless the winds are stronger than they ever were, and it is continuing northwest, expected to turn north and then eventually up and out by Tuesday. We won't have to deal with it, but we do have to deal with it in the short term. I should note that the wind radius with this system, you can see Bermuda is up here in the middle of all this text. With the wind radius this large, it is possible Bermuda will get tropical storm force winds as Colin approaches. Now, taking a look at Colin on the satellite imagery, the sun's going down, but you could definitely see on the infrared it's a lopsided storm. A lot of heavy thunderstorms, good outflow on the east and southeast side. Clearly flat as a board on the west, though, indicative of wind shear, and this wind shear keeps up. It's getting in a bit more favorable environment, but if you look at the overall wind shear patterns with it, you can definitely see there is still a good 30 knots of shear coming in. Same thing on the shear tendencies. Very, very favorable from the western Caribbean all the way to the Cape Verde Islands here, but not so favorable in the direct area where Colin is at this point in time. I also want to note the latest model guidance. They're in great agreement that the track's going to be up and out, even though the current motion, if held for 5 days, would bring it inland in about 2 to 3 days. In Cape Hatteras, it will, however, not continue on that track. Trust me, this time it will be able to turn out. Now, taking a look in the central Atlantic, you can see we do have this large area of thunderstorm activity. And then in the eastern Atlantic we have a tropical wave, and then more waves getting ready to move off. As a matter of fact, taking a look at the central Atlantic satellite imagery, this actually gives you a good idea of where Colin is in relation to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands here, as well as the Bahamas and Bermuda. You can see it ended up between Bermuda and the Bahamas, as predicted for a long time. Just definitely a turnout to see now. But look at this turning right in here. Some of the models, the GFS and the No Gaps model, do indicate that this could become a tropical storm and move to the northwest and probably pull out. I haven't seen a big bad African wave like that in a few years, but this is definitely one that will have problems with dry air. You can definitely see the moisture envelope with it is very, very large. And as Colin continues to the northwest and this system continues to try and develop, taking a look off Africa now, you can definitely see there is our new tropical wave. It has moved off the coast. It was blowing up. And right at the end there, as the sun goes down, you can see a new tropical wave with low pressure already, it appears, having moved off the coastline right about here, that we're going to have to watch another one inland that'll move off in a couple of days. So the tropics very active at this time. So that's the latest on Colin, as well as the central Atlantic and the tropical waves coming off Africa. I'm Mike Naso from IPR. Stay tuned.